People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, guys. Well, this is a first. We were so enthralled with Lana and telling these war stories and being on these A-list sets that we have to keep it rolling. We didn't even get to half the stuff that we talked about. We did a pre-interview with her last week, and I have a page and a half of notes. She's got a 7-page IMDb list that we'll never talk about all those different roles. And we just had to keep it going. So let's welcome Lana Young again. Everybody, woo!
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
So Lana, we were talking about being recast in a television show, and you're crying because you got fired, and then you turn that into a positive. They paid you for the whole season, but you got to spend time with your mom, and she was real sick, and it just all worked out. And that's one of the things. We met you. You interviewed us on just talking about magic and just a filler for your show, and I've met this person that's blown up, and everything happens for a reason. And thank you for being on the show. I'm mumbling here, but thank you. Everything happens for a reason, even how we met you. So
Exactly. Like, that's no accident, right? Here we are all these years later, and you're interviewing me for your show.
it's I never would have thought that had happened. Yeah. So anyway, let's get back into some questions here. So if you haven't listened to Lana's first half, go back and listen to it, because she had some crazy, awesome stories working on the set of all these different television shows and movies. But let's see. When you're still teaching as well, even though you're doing voiceover work and movies and all this other stuff?
This is the thing. You know that saying, those who can't teach?
Uh-huh.
I hate that saying because it's not true.
Right. How can you teach somebody if you can't do it?
Some people just love to teach and do. And that's what I do. I am a doer and a teacher of the doing. I feel very lucky that I have something that I can teach to other people that I love so much. And when I'm working a lot in TV and film, I don't have a lot of time to do it, but it brings me great joy, and it brings me kind of a sort of a soul fulfillment that sometimes the TV world doesn't give me. And in order to be able to share my experience and my stellar education that I got from Arts Educational School in London when I went to the conservatory, to be able to share that with someone is so amazing that why wouldn't I want to do it? So COVID sort of gave me the opportunity to do more teaching. In March, production basically stopped, and I found myself without a job. I had just shot Dynasty. That was my last job in March, and I was on the plane, and people were already feeling very weird and about coughing and being close to people, and I'm on a plane thinking I shouldn't be on this plane.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, big time, and all the production stopped, and so did my income. So I had a handful of private students that I worked with, but it wasn't going to be enough to keep me afloat. So I set about putting myself out there and getting leads, and now I have a big roster of private students that I coach and teach. I'm sort of a career coach, acting teacher, and I'm so happy that I have that. One, because it gives me income, and two, because I love doing it. And they're all aware that I'm an actor. They're all aware that I'm a working actor, and that, when they schedule with me, they know that there's always a chance that I might get an audition or I might get a job last minute and we'll have to reschedule. And they're all fine with that because they know that they're getting guided by someone who knows what's going on right now.
And you're not pulling any punches, and you're not halfway giving them information, but you don't want them to succeed more than you, and you're pulling back a little bit. You're giving them everything.
Oh, I'm giving them everything because why wouldn't I? I said this earlier in the first in our first episode together, that there is no competition. People talk about, oh, there's so much competition out there. Well, yes, there's lots of actors out there, and a lot of actors going for the same job. I mentioned between 600 and 3,000 people submit for one role. But that's not direct competition for you or me, because we're all unique beings. And I have been on the other side of casting, and I will tell you that in one full day, not one person is going to have the same audition as anybody else. Every single audition that comes into that room is different. All the same words, the same script, the same story, all different.
That's so crazy.
So you're not competing against anybody. You're going into that room and you are you. You are you in all your uniqueness.
Right.
And no one can do that. No one else can do that.
Well, when I teach magic lessons, I tell people, why do you teach magic lessons? Number one, if I have time off, I love magic. And yeah, Natalie charges for it and does it like a show. But the other thing is, I learn from it. Every time I teach, people say, well, when you do that move, why can't you do it from that hand to that hand? And it's like, I never thought about it. Let's work on that. And they make you think outside the box, and they ask questions that you would never ask because you've already been doing it that way forever. Is acting the same way? Do you end up learning also from them?
Absolutely. Well, I think that you're blind if you go through life not thinking that you're learning from other people.
Right.
Like every single moment in a day is a learnable, teachable moment. So not only does it keep my machine well-oiled by teaching it, but I get to watch it being applied, and I get to watch the adjustments being made, and I can see what works and what doesn't work. And of course, everyone learns differently too, and I really enjoy figuring out how someone learns best, like what tools work best for them. And then it just reminds me of things that I could try too for my own work when I'm preparing a character. Something that I might have forgotten from my own process. Because sometimes, when you're in the thick of it, it's easy to teach someone else, but when you're doing it for yourself, sometimes you forget the best lessons, so it's always a good reminder.
Well, when you're going on auditions and things, I've heard people saying they walked into a room of 300 people that look just like me. Do you find that for yourself as well?
When you have an agent, you're never walking into a room of 300 people because you have an appointment. That's a casting call, like a cattle call. Okay. So that'll be for someone who doesn't have representation, maybe that isn't making an appointment for them. So there's maybe 3, 4, 5 people in a room at a time when I'm getting ready to go in for my audition. And it could be all different roles. It's not always necessarily people going in for the same role as me. But a lot of the roles I play, a lot of the characters I play can be anybody. They can be a man or a woman. I've auditioned so much for roles that were written for men. You wouldn't believe how many roles are written for men still. And it doesn't have to be a man. And I've booked those roles. My agent will be like, well, Lana can do this. It doesn't have to be a man. And I'll get it. And I'll get to set, and it'll still be written as a man.
Oh, wow.
So, a doctor role. I mean, why couldn't doctor be Dr. Lana? Is that what you're talking about? That type of thing?
Doctor, detective. I mean, if it's not a leading role, if it's just a supporting role like a co-star or a guest star, and it's not specific to the gender or to the race, then it can be anybody. My first feature film was my first TV film was Killer Flood. That was the film that basically inspired me to go to drama school, because that was the one I auditioned for, and I had never auditioned for anything on camera before, so I had no idea what I was doing, but I booked the role. And when I lived in Los Angeles, I booked Beginners, which was based on a true story, and I worked with Ewan McGregor and Christopher Plummer, and my scene was with the two of them. I was ICU nurse number 2. And actually my first role in Killer Flood, the TV movie, was a hospital administrator, Janine Mackey. So there's a theme going here with the doctor thing. But when I was working with now I can't remember what I was talking about with beginners. What was I talking about? That's the COVID brain.
That's all right. That's all right. You were
talking about.
We were talking about going to auditions and you know, man, you could play a man's part. It didn't always have to be.
I see you, nurse number 2. Could be anybody. And I walked into the room, and it was full of men and women of all shapes and sizes, all ages, and all races. So they were seeing everybody for this role. And I booked it.
Nice.
So some people might say that makes it easier to get the role. Some people might say it's harder to get the role. I personally think that it becomes more challenging when they don't know what they're looking for and they're looking at everybody.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm always happy when I book those roles.
So when you started out, did you have to go to those casting calls, or did you, because you went to an acting school, you had some connections and were able to get an agent right away? How did you?
Well, my acting school was in London, so when I moved to Los Angeles, it was a clean slate.
Uh-huh.
And I managed, I think for the first, if I can remember correctly, I think for the first year and a half, I tried to get my own auditions, and I probably went to a few of those, but then I got an agent pretty quickly, and had an appointment. So I haven't really. That's not a big memory in my journey. My acting journey is being in a room full of people.
Right.
Maybe a few times, but that's it.
Cool.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I'm lucky that way.
So if my listeners are out there wanting to be an actor, actress, or they just want to take some lessons, what do they have to do? Just find you on Twitter, Facebook, email you? What would you like them to do?
No, they can go to my website, actorlanayoung.com, and there's a section on my website that is for coaching. It's the tab all the way to the right. They can hit that tab, and then they go to the section about scheduling, and they can schedule an appointment right there on my website. And what's interesting is since COVID hit, a lot of people, it's been a time of a lot of innovation and introspection, and a lot of people are making changes in their careers and their lives. And I am working with a lot of new people who have not been an actor before, people who have not been voiceover artists before, and they all of a sudden are like, I want to learn this, I want to do this, and I want to take this time to prepare myself for when things get going again. And the voiceover industry is very busy right now too, and I've helped several people who never ever thought about being an actor set up home studios and get them on the path of auditioning for audiobooks and commercials and all sorts of things that are opportunities that exist now because of COVID. So, anybody who's had an interest and thinks they have an inkling of talent, I can assess them and give them my honest feedback and say, yes, I can work with you, or no, I think you should keep your day job.
But you're doing it over Zoom, so, they can literally be from around the world. I have people from New Zealand, Bangladesh. I have people from Canada, people listening not just in New York. So you can help them over Zoom.
People all over the place, absolutely. Yeah. So
now your voiceover. Go ahead.
I said thank you for that. I just love helping people to find their new path. And because I did it at 33, whenever people say, "Oh, I'm scared, I'm changing my job, my career halfway through life and all that stuff," I know exactly where they're coming from, and I can guide them. I know where they are, and I'm living proof that it's possible. So.
Well, and one thing that this, COVID has given us is open eyes of how small the world is, so that you're able to teach somebody. When I was 17 years old and loving magic, the Magic Castle in LA seemed like a world away, because I'm from Charlottesville, and I might go to the beach at Virginia Beach at summertime, but that's about all the traveling I do. So Magic Castle seemed like a world away, but you're taking lessons from people at the Magic Castle or from the Magic Circle in Europe now on a daily basis, and Zoom just connects us so easy. So
it's amazing.
It's right there.
Amazing, isn't it?
Now, when did you start your voiceover career?
Well, that actually started in Bermuda. Funnily enough, I was working on a trading desk in a financial company, and I was doing amateur theater for a repertory company called Jabulani Repertory Company, which was founded by a man named Dusty Hind. Great name, Dusty Hind.
Wow.
And he also owned an advertising agency. And so one day he called me up and he said, we are looking for a spokesperson for cable and wireless telecommunications, and we would need, this person to be the voice for the prepaid calling card and do radio commercials and all of that stuff and print commercials. And I was like, count me in. So they flew me to New York and had me picked up with a limousine and everything. It was my first time having this experience. And I sat for 2 days at a studio recording everything from 0 cent, 1 cent, 2 cents, 3 cents, $1, and
wow.
Thank you for using cable and wireless. Your account balance is 0. Like that type of thing.
Wow.
And they have to record every single word so that they can piece it all together based on what the client requires when they're using the prepaid calling card. So that was my first experience, and that was amazing. And so I started to do more radio commercials in Bermuda. And then when I moved to Boston in 1998, I had a demo made at Chart Productions and did some classes and stuff. And I booked a video game called Neverwinter Nights. And I did 2 characters on it called the female frost giant and then a warrior woman. So those 2 players would actually fight each other. And that was a trip. I really loved doing animated stuff. And it just sort of continued from there. I made my own home studio, and it's become better over the years as I've made money doing it. I've upgraded it and stuff like that. And I have my own studio here in my apartment in New York. So.
Well, just for your sake, for listening back to this later on, we're talking about voiceover stuff, and your peas started popping. I know we're almost 2 hours of videotaping here, but I just want you to, I don't know if you've adjusted a microphone or something. Your peas are popping. So.
Yes, I did. I just put the phone up to my mouth because I was just walking around to get something.
You're good, sweetie. You're good. No, I just want to let you know. Because you need a director as well. So I'm trying to direct your peas are popping
You're
over
my
there.
Director.
So do you have any type of method, when we go back to acting here, do you have any type of method acting? What do you do to get in character? Do you have any tips you can share? I'm asking 3 questions in one, but let's start with the method thing. Do you go method at all? I mean, there's different methods. It doesn't have to be extreme and thinking you're Abraham Lincoln, but there's different things.
Well, I'm going to start by saying Konstantin Stanislavski is the godfather of all methods. It was very important for him to take us away from the presentational acting and make acting more realistic and more grounded. And so every single method that exists out there, every single technique is an offshoot of his. And that's basically what I learned, that and Uta Hagen in school. But I have a toolbox full of different methods that I pull on depending on the role. But the basic thing that I do, and that every actor should do, is read the script or the sides several times before you even start doing the work. Understand what's happening in the story as a whole, and then in the story in the scene, like what's happening in the scene, to the point of being able to explain it in your own words. You're not ready to work until you can explain in your own words what's happening in that scene. And then once you are able to explain it, you start to look at the relationships in the scene. So who am I speaking to? What is my relationship to them? Because we speak differently to our children than we do to our parents, right?
Absolutely.
Or to a stranger differently than a best friend. So if you don't understand your relationship to the person you're speaking to, then you won't know how to relate to them. And then on top of that, you're looking at what is it that I want in this scene? What do I want from this person? What am I trying to get? And what is in my way of getting what I want? And what actions do I take to overcome those obstacles to get what I want? And why do I want it? So what happens when people get a script is that they stop being a human being. Acting is all about relating and communicating as a human being. That's it. There's no magic, except that you're being given the words to say. So now you have to just understand why you're saying what you're saying so that you know how to say them, right? When we have conversations throughout the day, what are we doing? What makes a good conversation go back and forth? What is important to do in a conversation?
Keep it going.
Yeah, but how do you keep it going?
Give and take. Ask questions. Get to know the person.
Listen.
Thank you, Natalie. I knew you were going to
That's why I have her around.
Right? You can't have a conversation without listening.
Right.
I know it sounds so simple, but the minute someone gets a script in their hand, they stop listening. And they just wait to talk.
Oh, yeah.
If you're ever watching a TV show or a film and you find yourself not caring about a certain character or caring more about a different character than another character, it's because one person is really involved in the circumstances and it's affecting them in a true, honest, authentic way, and their listening is authentic. And therefore, you're feeling what they're feeling. The people that you don't care about aren't listening, and they're not feeling anything. They are just waiting to speak. And that's why they don't affect us. And if you notice, the most amazing thing to witness when you're watching TV and film is to watch someone listening. And if you notice, a lot of the time the camera will be on the person listening and not the person speaking. And if that person is actively listening, then they are actively going to be affected by what they're hearing, and we will feel it and we will see it. And that is going to make us affected. It'll affect us in the same way.
Now I want to look for someone listening. You got me wanting to look for that now. I'm always looking for the bad actor that their lips are moving when the other person's talking, because they're recycling both roles. Usually kids. You see kids do that.
That should never ever happen. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's so funny. Understanding what's going on in the scene, all of the things. Do all of that prep first, and then you're ready to learn your lines. A lot of people learn their lines first, and I believe that that's a mistake, because then you're just learning a bunch of words out of context, right?
See, that's why you need a teacher, because, I mean, if I got a role on a television show, that'd be the first thing I do. What are my lines?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And that's because, unfortunately, in schools, that's how the teachers teach, right?
Yeah.
You see all the kids standing on stage with their hands clasped in front of them, and they're just reciting words. Kids are smarter than that.
Right.
When I had my acting school, I would do all of these questions with kids from 8 years old up, and their parents were always amazed at the level of performance and connection that they had with the plays. Kids are not stupid. They understand wanting something from someone else. And they understand that this person is making decisions in their life and behaving the way they are behaving in this moment in their life because of how they've been treated throughout their lives up until that point. Right?
Yeah.
We are all a sum of all of our parts, all of our experiences. We are the human being that we are in this moment today because of everything that has happened to us up until this point in our lives. We have to know our characters that deeply. Why am I acting like this right now? Why do I react like this? Who am I?
Well, that's a question for you. So in magic, we try to bring as much what other talents or what other interests, because that makes your show unique and different. Do you have anything in your bio that would help with a different role? Like, hey, I can also sing. I can also play the flute if you ever need that in a show. Or do you have anything like that you could add to your stuff?
Well, I can sing, but I wouldn't consider myself a singer.
Okay.
And I can do a lot of different characters and character voices, and I'm pretty good with accents. And I was a dancer for 10 years.
So there you go.
So
okay. Yeah.
I can dance. But, to be honest, it's good to have all that stuff, but I'm really not interested in doing that. I really love to perform, and I love to produce, and I love to direct. Those are my interests.
Well, just from the time I've known you and getting this, huge IMDb list accumulated here, I mean, who knows what I'll see you in next and where you'll go next. And I know a little bit of something that I'm not supposed to know, and you got some cool stuff on the horizons, girl. I'm so proud of you, and This is so awesome. You're so awesome.
Thank you. Well, we can do that little plug. We just can't say any. Well, Lisi's story we can talk about. I think they might still be filming because we got interrupted by COVID.
Yeah.
But I play another doctor in that show as well. I guest starred in that show. I think I'm in maybe two or three scenes in an episode.
Now, is this a movie? Is this a made-for-TV movie?
It's a limited series on Netflix.
Oh, cool.
With Julianne Moore and Clive Owen. So I don't know when that's supposed to be coming out. Probably 2021 now. Obviously 2021 now because we're at the end of 2020. And then another a Marvel project that I'm not allowed to name yet, but it's coming out soon. And if you're interested in knowing what that is, I will definitely be posting about it when I'm allowed to.
Girl,
Nice.
I'm so excited. So I'm imagining your Marvel role, you'll have your own trading cards and all this other stuff, and maybe for Christmas next year I'll get a signed autograph in your superhero outfit or whatever your role is with your trading card.
That would be cool.
But you were saying I don't want to mispronounce the name. Is it Lisi's story?
Yes, Lisi's story.
So the cool thing about that, besides Julianne Moore and Clive Owen, who wrote that?
Stephen King.
You're in a Stephen King movie. I mean, that is so awesome, girl.
I am definitely watching that one.
I got to meet him too. He's very tall.
Really?
I didn't
Wow.
think that. He's really tall.
He's very tall, and he's always got a big smile, and his hair is really silver and gray now, which was surprising because I always picture him with his black hair.
Right.
But he was super cool, and he was on set a lot, and he was really easy to talk to. So I really enjoyed that. And Julianne Moore, she likes to be called Julie, was super cool and just superb to work with, excellent to work with.
Now, have you read Stephen King's book on how to write?
No, I have not. I have not.
I've heard that's really amazing. Because
Yeah.
I mean, you're writing stuff now. You're making your own scripts and things as well, right?
Yes, I'm starting to. I've written the pilot of a show that I think is amazing called Between Us. So my co-creator and I are working on that right now. So hopefully you'll be seeing something about that in the next year or two. But yes, I'm doing a lot of like masterclass, the masterclass online courses.
Uh-huh.
And I'm taking a screenwriting course online right now as well. So just trying to educate myself.
Who teaches that masterclass?
Ella Thier, Thier.
Mm.
Her first name is Ela. She's
Okay.
amazing.
Wow.
She's an independent filmmaker. And I found her through someone else who really speaks highly of her. So yeah, just trying to do my thing. I think that the biggest challenge there is just allowing myself to call myself a writer. I haven't written before, and so to be like, yeah, I'm a writer. Yes, why can't I be a writer? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Why not?
So you got Lisi's story. You got a new Marvel project. You have a multi-platform video game that you're doing voiceover for. That's not the video game where you played different characters in the past. This is a big production video thing. You can't really talk about it, but it's a big deal.
No. Yes, it is a big deal. I did play two characters on this one as well. And again, when I'm able to announce it, I will have that on all of my social media. But it should be a lot of fun. I mean, I really hope to continue to do more of those in the future. I really like combining my acting skills with my voiceover work. A person with a good voice and a good sense of connecting with people can do voiceovers, like commercials and stuff like that. But it really does take an actor to be able to do scripted stuff. Someone who's able to do voiceover commercials just may not be able to do like a scripted series with voiceover, for instance, if that's clear. So for any actors out there who may not have considered voiceover in the past, it might be a really smart move to start looking into that. And of course, you can come to me for coaching. I can guide you in that direction. But everything has moved online now, and a lot of things have moved into voiceovers because of COVID. So you might as well strike while the iron is hot, as they say.
Yeah.
Well, do you find voiceover harder than being, an actress in person in the studio, or is it about the same? I would see it being harder just because you're not right there with the other person, be able to feed off somebody else. But I mean, I've never done it, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's what one would think, and other people might feel differently than me. I actually think it's easier, and the way that games and scripted voiceover stuff go, like the game, for instance, was just a list, like a grid of one-liners. And, if you know exactly what's happening in that scene and how you're supposed to be feeling and all that stuff, then it's just about, tapping into the emotion of that line in that moment. It's just a different kind of acting.
Did they show you any of the video game to,
No.
when you go into a movie set, you watch the television shows? Do you know their history? If it's a part 2, a part 3, do you know anything about the game?
No, we're given very little information. I had to sign an NDA. I don't even know the full name of the game yet.
Wow.
So they kept a lot of things under wraps, and I'm really just given exactly like what I need and nothing more.
Yeah, well, these games are big deals. I mean, they're millions of dollars in development, and yeah.
But it was really cool, like shooting in the studio. The director was over a Zoom call, and they had a big monitor set up so that she could look at me and I could look at her. And if there was a line before my line, she would feed it to me so that I could react to it. And she would explain as we go, like, this is what's happening, and this is what the result is that we want, and all that stuff. And then there was one little piece of the video, like visual, that I was able to see near the end, with a little twist at the end that my second character had to do. I was able to look at some of the visuals that weren't complete yet, but it gave me a sense of what was happening with the movement in the scene. So that was really cool too. And
you filmed that at your house, but they were able to zoom it.
No, I did this one at a studio. I was able to go in, and they only had one client in at a time.
Okay.
It was just the engineers in a separate room. I'm in the vocal booth by myself. They had wiped it down and sanitized it and everything. I brought my own headphones and all of that stuff, and I felt very safe doing it like that. And that's why they zoomed in the director instead of having the director there.
Okay. Now, you think about New York, L.A., I think Atlanta, because we worked down there on television. But where all the locations have you worked? Is it a huge number, various places, or is it pretty much what you would think and imagine?
I work in Atlanta a lot, and I even thought about moving there once. In fact, I did move there once when I had the series regular role. They paid me a relocation fee, and I moved my cats and everything there. So I'd actually made the move and then got recast. So that was a big deal too. I forgot about that part. That was a big effort. Atlanta has a lot of projects, and in fact, they're still working quite a bit now. Tyler Perry kind of led the way with shooting a film, first film I think through COVID, and managed to do that successfully without any instances of viral infection. So that was good. But because of tax incentives, the productions go where they can get the best deal. And
Right.
I know that's starting to build up again in North Carolina. North Carolina was kind of the mecca, and then they took away the incentives, which was really stupid. And everybody hightailed it out of there and moved to Atlanta. Atlanta's got some of the best tax incentives, and that's why they have so many productions going there. Some things still shoot in New York. Very few things are shooting in LA, but I think LA is working on their incentive as well, because I think they want to bring some production back there. Pittsburgh is quite popular. New Orleans, some in Savannah, some in Nashville. So the Southeast is pretty busy. Some in Virginia.
But as far as you, though, have you been to Virginia to film? Have you filmed anything here?
Yes.
Okay.
I shot Bentley'sville there, but that was because the filmmaker was from there. And a lot of independent stuff before I moved to New York, I shot in Charlotte, in Virginia. But since then, since I moved, no, I have not shot anything in Virginia.
Yeah.
But I believe The Walking Dead, the next iteration, is being shot there.
In Virginia?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you have, I'm trying to figure out the timeline of this, because we're going to talk about Praise now. Did you film that before Leslie's story? I'm getting the name right. Lisi's story? Or did you film that after? Or what was the timeline? Yeah, Praise.
Praise has been shot over several years because the filmmaker, Thomas Goggins, basically made it out of his own pocket. And this literally was a labor of love. And everybody who worked on it because they believed in Thomas, and they believed in the story, and they believed in their characters. So I think the first time we shot was 2016.
Wow, I never would have known.
And then we finished it this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's what, in the first podcast we were talking, it's Christmas time, Natalie's baking cookies, and, we're saying, we have Lana tomorrow morning, and we usually film at, 3 to 9 p.m. at night. So an 11 a.m. call for a podcast was unique and different for us. So we're like, we got to get up early tomorrow. It's pandemic. We're used to sleeping in. And, we haven't done our homework. We have to download Praise and watch Praise. And you're watching it. It all links together. They're only 10-minute episodes, maybe 12-minute episodes. And they link together so well. I never would have guessed that it was filmed over a 4-year period. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's movie magic. I mean, originally it was supposed to be a film, and then Thomas realized that it might be a bigger story than that, and so started to submit it as a series. Sometimes submit it as a short film into the film festivals, and sometimes as a series. But they were only ever allowed to submit 2 episodes to film festivals. So the film festival, and I started in episode 3. So no one in the festivals ever got to see my work. But we just decided that it was better as a series, and I think that we're able to delve deeper into multi-generational trauma and the effects of loss and grief and addiction on family unit and redemption and hope, and all of those themes are so strong in that show. It was a beautiful piece to work on.
So for those who don't know, how would you give your elevator pitch of what Praise is?
It's about an inner city girl who loses her mother and whose father can't handle the grief and falls into addiction, and she finds herself lost and going down the wrong path, and he realizes he's unable to help her and contacts his sister, who lives in the country and is a member of the church, that's my character, and says, I need your help. And he sends her to me and hopes that I can help her and set her on the path to redemption and to a happy life, a good life, a productive life. And so we see at the end of the series, at the end of the first season, we see glimpses of the main character, Davida, starting to open up to my character. And we see that there might be a chance that she is ready and open for help in her life. But multi-generational trauma is a powerful thing, addiction, child neglect, all of those things. They're all very topical themes and issues right now, and it's very rare that we get to see this story being told from a young girl, and especially a young girl of color. And it's a very important story for people to see. And I think it's going to inspire a lot of people and give them the courage to step up and ask for help if they find themselves in the same situation.
Well, I asked Natalie what she thought of it last night, and she's thinking, man, I wish our little girl's named Lana. She said, I wish Lana was old enough to see this and just to see how blessed she is, because when you're watching it, I mean, you're you're taken to that inner city. You feel like you're there, and you see the trials and tribulations that girl goes through just walking down the street, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and I think the cast does a great job at telling that story with respect and honoring the truth behind it. You know, it's not a caricature. It's not a stereotype. It's very authentic, and it's you know, ultimately again it's about hope and family and trust and asking for help, you know, and being open to receive it, and knowing that you're not alone. You're never alone.
Well, it was very powerful, very, very powerful. It wasn't a Marvel project, that's for sure. It was you know, I can't wait to see. I'm hooked. I mean,
Yes.
it was one of those things that wasn't lighthearted and fun, and you're staying up to do the homework because I love you and I promised you I would watch it, and I'm like, man, I wasn't ready for this. Wow, it's you know, the girl's going through so much and you feel so bad for her, and all right, what's going to happen now? Is it going to get worse? Is it going to get worse? And finally, when you're introduced, the whole show, like, it's like the sun comes out. I don't know if you felt that way or not, though. I mean, well, you're in that office and you're talking to those people, and it's the first joke happens in this show, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like the sun comes out. I mean, that was
That's lovely. I really love that. That's such a special way to put it. I think Thomas would agree with you. Thomas Goggins, the writer and director, he loved the Maddie character, and he really wanted Maddie to bring that lightness to the show. I mean, she is full of tough love, and she sort of doles it out with a little cheeky smirk and a grin. You know?
I'm not messing with that chick's radio, that's for sure. But
and that scene that you quoted in the church when I'm counseling the couple is one of my favorite scenes. I just love that. And that couple, that scene was scripted, but they had a lot of license to improvise, and I thought they did a terrific job.
wow. Well, sorry if you're hearing the babies chirp. It's they're getting hungry, and we have twins, and they're getting hungry. Sorry if you're hearing that in the background, but
No, family first.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
My little girl.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
My little girl Lana watched him as best she could. Well, come in here and say goodbye to Lana, and we'll wrap everything up. You're gonna hear the babies chirp in here.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm ducking out for the last few minutes, but this has been awesome. I've really enjoyed myself. So.
Thanks, Natalie. And I just want to say that if anyone's interested in seeing Praise, the first season is very short. It won't take you much more than an hour to watch it. You can go to my bio. The link is in my bio to Vimeo in my IG account, actor Lana Young. And you can hit the link, and it's only $6.99 to watch the whole season. And like I said, it'll only take a little over an hour. And every view is an investment in a potential second season. So thank you in advance for your support.
Well, girl, it was really powerful. I mean, like I said, you didn't set it up at all. You just said it's got a Christian theme to it, and that's all I knew going in. And it was like, whoa, I'm ready for season 2. I want to see what happens with these characters. You know, one episode is called Travis, and you just learn about the father, and you're really taken into this world. It's different than a movie. If a movie was done, I don't know. Yeah. Watching it all in one thing, it was very well done, is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate that.
And anyway, so how can people find you one last time? They can find you on Instagram, and you have your own website. Tell the website one more time.
Yes, the website is actorlanayoung.com. You can see you can see clips and demos of all the work that I've done, some on-set production stills, voiceover demos, and then there's also a section about my coaching. If you're interested in that, you can check that out. And then on Instagram and Facebook, I am at actor Lana Young, and on Twitter, I am Lana M. Young, as in M as in Michelle, Lana M. Young. And it'd be great to hear from any of your viewers if they're interested in learning and becoming voiceover or an actor, or just interested in the business in general.
Well, as soon as you get release dates on, you don't have Lisi's Story release date, do you?
Not yet. I have a watch. If people are interested in that, they can go to imdb.com and they can add it to their watch list.
Oh.
And you'll be alerted when it comes on. Same with the one. Oh, I almost said the name. Same with the Marvel show.
Oh.
And they can also check me out on IMDb. Just tap in Lana Young, or you can go to imdb.me/Lana.
I didn't know you could do a watch list. I'm gonna look into this. That's neat.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, girl.
And for those of people who don't know, Internet Movie Database is what IMDb stands for, the Internet Movie Database.
And it's so awesome because my dad owned a video store. So growing up, you see somebody in a television show and you're like, where do I know that guy from? What do I know? And you can look up the television show you're in, look at the cast, find that person, and then hit them and you're taken to their page with all the other movies they played in. And I mean, you can go down our rabbit hole of IMDb. And that, for me, that's so much fun. It's like, yeah, I know him from that and that and that. And yeah, and it's people that you're like, whatever happened to this person? And you go to their IMDb page and it's like, they're still working. It's just stuff I'm not seeing, but, oh, they're directing now, or, you know, they're doing voiceover work now. And it's neat to see you can follow people's career without, it's pretty neat. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you guys are the best, and I just loved watching you on that Penn and Teller show. Oh my God, Wes, you got him. You tricked him.
Oh, it was definitely magical. It was awesome.
I loved your confidence too. You're like, you're not gonna get it.
You're gonna lose, Ben.
And I love that he was like, I have been trying to figure out how to do this trick for so long. I just love that.
So he's going to be doing my trick in his live show. I don't know if I told you that or not. I gave him the rights to do it. He and Teller are going to be doing it different than the way I did it, but they're going to be doing my trick. They're going to have Teller walk out in the audience and take pictures. Just get right in people's faces and take Polaroid pictures, and take all the Polaroids and put them backwards on a board, and have somebody randomly from the audience choose a photo, and you just hold on to it. And then they play the game in the audience where they flip a coin and whatever, and they eliminate the audience, and the last person standing matches the photo that person chose.
No
So
way.
that's how they're going to do it. So it's my trick, but they're going to be doing it live on there.
Are they going to give you any props?
He's saying that he's going to mention me every time he brings that trick out. So
I love it.
I can't wait. I get to go back and headline one of their shows in Vegas when everything opens back up, and I can't wait to see him do my trick, because that's a dream come true. It really is.
You are a superstar.
But not as cool as Lana Young. Guys, check her out. Like I said, we did 2 hours. We've been on the phone with this poor girl for over 2 hours. Lana my wife had to leave. My little girl, Lana, couldn't take care of the babies anymore. They got hungry, so that's only something Natalie could do. So Natalie's not here to wrap everything up. But Lana, I love you. I'm so proud of you. And yes, keep saying not the cattle calls. What do you say? The casting alerts. Keep posting from sets. Post from these voiceovers. I want to see you, because every time I see you, I just smile and I light up, and I'm so proud of you. It's awesome. I'm very proud of you, girl.
Thank
happy.
You so much.
So happy.
I love you guys too.
Hold on the line. I'm going to wrap everything up, and then we'll wrap everything up. On January 22nd at 7 p.m., we'll be doing our full evening Magic and Illusion show live on stage, but zoomed into the comfort of your living room. This is a fundraiser event for a couple different elementary schools, and the proceeds will truly help them out. For tickets or more info on the event, check out my event page at wesisley.com. And tonight on Jewel TV, episode 16, the final episode of season 1. It's called The Magic of Magiclife. It will air at 7 p.m. on Eastern Time on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, the Jewel TV app, and tons of other places. It's in over 100 million households. All you have to do is look for Jewel TV. You can find it. And see you next week. Today's episode of the podcast is sponsored by Express Copy and Graphics. Mention promo code Wes Iseli to get 10% off. Their website is expresscopy.com. That's XPRESS-COPY.com. They do it all. Copies, banners, signs, vehicle wraps, promo items, practically anything you need printed, they can do it for you. These guys are great. Check them out. Check us out online at wesisley.com and patreon.com/Wes_Isley for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled Wesiseli.